my first video, I want to talk about depression and mental health. So, as we know, like half the world deals with depression and mental health. Yes, I know some people that deal with it. People close to me. This is something that a lot of us have to deal with on a daily basis. So, I just want to talk about it, So, like, for instance, I want to use, like, I'll say a friend of mine. So, a friend of mine, she is, she has a man and she's been with him for a couple of years. Well, she struggles day in and day out with depression and mental health. Okay, so it's like, I don't know if it's like bipolar or what, because one minute she's fine and the next minute, she's not. Like, the littlest thing sets her off. So it's like her man, he's really like positive. He doesn't let stuff, get to him like she does. So like a lot of stuff that she deals with, is just life, of course, just work, her kids, then her parents, and like, just, their drama, just take it on everyone's drama, and trying to, be a mother and all that. So it's like she's constantly going to her better half, other half, with everything that's always going on in her life. He's always giving her an advice, like, to not let it get to her. He's always giving her, like, brush it off. A lot of, like, what she told me, he tells her is like, don't be a puppet master, basically, in these people's story or whatever. So, and it's like she listens, but she finds herself, getting caught up and, just letting it get to her, and it's causing them to fight a lot, because it's like, this is a person that she's been with and definitely loves him a lot, but it's like, if he tells her to do something and she keeps calling him, and saying the same thing over and over, then it gets to a point where, it's messing with his peace, So lately they've been fighting a lot because, of, all this stuff that she's dealing with, with her family, her parents, and her kids and stuff. So like, my question is, like, at the end of the day, like, she thinks that no one understands her, and it's like, when it comes to her man, she thinks no matter what, even if like, she does listen to him, but it's like, it's always, if it's not the same thing that she's talking about, it's something else, and she is trying her hardest to not let these things get to her. She goes to therapy, but from what she told me, she goes to therapy, she goes to church, but it's like, it's not enough. I don't know, because she's still letting, life and life's problems and, everything, get to her. So, I forgot my thought. But it's like, well, I know, okay, so like I said, lately they've been fighting a lot. So, like, my question is, like, no one, like, she feels no one understands her. So sometimes it gets to the point, like, where she wants to take her life, and I have to keep letting her know, like, no, you have your kids, you have a good job, there's just so much more in life that you haven't seen, all this and that. So it's like, what if everyone around her, because they all tell her the same thing, like, why are you always mad and this and that and blah blah blah. But like, what if, it's too late and she does take her life, so like, do you think that her family and her other half should continue to deal with it until she heals, no matter how long it takes, or just, give up? Give up, like if you guys were in a relationship and you're dealing with someone like that, would you give up on them to the point where you would break up with them because it's messing with your peace? Or would you just stick it out with them, and no matter how long it took, because you love them, no matter how long it took, you would deal with it until they healed, But at the same time, what if she never heals? Like, that's the thing too. But I believe God heals, and she's a person that loves God, and God is a big part of her life. So I'm pretty sure eventually she will. But what if there's other people out there, who don't have him? I suggest that, that they do find him, because, he is everything. And, I think the more we go to him, he does, heal. And, you just got to get in the Bible and, read the word daily. I think, too, a lot of us need to wake up every day. Instead of going on social media, we should read the word, and before we go to bed. It's a lot of things, I think, that help with depression and mental health, like what we eat. I think that plays a big role. Um, Trying to go, get a walk, exercise, reading the Bible, going to church and therapy. But like with my friend, like sometimes it does help, but it's like temporary, So what if, and that's another question, like if you're in a relationship but you're depressed and you're not happy, and your kids, whatever, but you're not happy, but it's not them though, like, should, especially your other half, should they take it personally, like, oh, I don't make you happy, or should they know that there's a lot of stuff that plays a key role in depression, or should they be upset, or feel some type of way because their other half, whether male or female, is depressed, and you're doing everything, that you're loving them correctly, you're doing everything in your power, to make them happy, but, it's not enough. Like, for me personally, if I was with someone that suffered from depression, and I probably would feel away, because it's like like it's hard. I don't know, but I would probably feel a type of way, like, dang, like, here's me, I'm so beautiful to you, and I do everything, to make you happy, but you're still depressed, like, because I know there's people that have been in relationships, and the person did everything, but in the end, it wasn't enough, and they ultimately took their life. So I know for me, like, if I was with someone and they took their life, like, I wouldn't help but to feel like I wasn't enough. But it's like, it's just weird, because what if I deal with it, and I don't think that, like, they should be upset. Like, if I was depressed, but it's not because of them. So I don't, like, I'm trying to see what I'm trying to say. It's weird, but you all bear with me. This is my first video. I'm gonna get it together, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, but um yeah. So what do y'all think? Like, would you guys feel some type of way if someone you're with was depressed and you did everything you could to make them happy, but they still took their life? Or someone that you're with is suffering from mental health, and You know, they just, you try to give them the game and everything and constantly talk to them and show them all the love, but they still, like, they're still walking around letting things get to them, depressed, like they're on and off with their emotions all the time. Like, do you give up or do you stick it out? You know, and if they were to ultimately, take their life, would you blame yourself? Like, it's because of me, I didn't try hard enough, or you just know that it was them, it was just something that they were going through so deeply that you couldn't fix, no one could fix, and it was just like their inner demon. So that's what I'm trying to say, y'all. But yeah, this is my first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I was gonna do it Sunday, but today's Saturday. As you see, I'm about to go to Carl's Jr., my second job. But yes, y'all, hit the comments. Leave your comments. I'll get back to them. But yeah, until the next time, stay safe out there. Be a blessing. Love one another. Until the next time, peace and blessings.